Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is your 50s can be the best time of your life. For me, my 50s have been by far the best time of my life. Even though sometimes when I was a teenager were very, very, very good. And even though sometimes in my 20s were very, very, very good. And even a couple times in my 30s, things were good. But overall, in general, I've finally stumbled upon a lifestyle that suits me. I've spent a long time figuring out how I want to live my life. I've put all the major, not all, but most of the major problems I've had in the past. I detail those at length in my other videos regarding the verbal abuse I suffered with my wife, and then I had lots of problems in those. I was married in my 30s and early 40s, so let's say those years were just mostly horrible. So mostly horrible. The good thing in the 30s was both kids were born, and there was a lot of happiness and surrounding that. But let's say the day-to-day grind of how my life was just kind of made those years really suck. And I haven't had that in my 50s. Whenever I've kind of learned that if I start to experience some sort of issue or problem, I quickly try to solve it. And that's, one of the bigger things you learn with age and experience is how to solve problems quickly, how to deal with them, how to adapt, how to be flexible, how to make improvements. And you learn, you learn your own preferences, what you like the most, and you can focus on doing things that make you the happiest. Now, personally, I'm in an ideal job for myself in a great organization. Looking back at the jobs I had prior to this one, they all had their real serious downfalls. So sometimes you don't get the great job until later in life, like I did. And then since I had all those bad jobs, I fully appreciate a good job more. A lot of times too, what you'll see, 50s, some people fear their 50s, like their life is over, like they're washed up, like they're invisible, like there's nothing left for them. And I have found that there's nothing farther from the truth than that. For me, I've had the most fun, the most adventure, the most exploration, the most financial progress, the most just ease about life, peaceful, easy life, solving problems fairly rapidly, and that's what I think you could find too. So if you're approaching your 50s, don't be afraid of them. Make them good. I do talk a lot about spending a lot of time at the coffee shops thinking and planning your life, and that is one of the biggest tips I think you could have approaching your 50s, is to slow down, plan, prepare, think, write, type in your computer spreadsheets, all your plans, what you want to do, start to slot them in, start to put some of your major adventures into some reasonable plan that you can accomplish, right? Because your days are numbered. You don't have that much time left. You've got to figure out, well, how am I going to do all this stuff? You can't just say, well, I'll do that later. You have to plan for it. You have to talk about, well, this year I'm going to do this. Next year I'm going to do that. The following year I'm going to do that. And start slotting things and organizing them. And do it on this. I like to do it on a spreadsheet, so it's easy to kind of copy and paste and move around and shift based on changing priorities, but this way you capture the things you want to do the most. I did want to give you a little bit of a flavor of some of the things I've done in my 50s that have made me so happy. I love to travel, and I've traveled extensively. I've had 4 trips to Southeast Asia, kind of in my late 50s, and I've got one more to go on in about a week and a half before I turn 60. So that'll make it 5 Southeast Asian trips, and it's a great place to visit and a great place to spend time. I've had 6 United States Western road trips where I got in my beautiful vehicle, either this one I'm in now or my beloved F-150, and drove out west from my Midwestern location and spent considerable time exploring the mountains and the desert and the plains out west. Truthfully, I like the West a lot more than the Midwest. It's just the Midwest is where I live and where I work and where the family is and the friends are. So I guess I'll probably keep staying here. But let's say my heart is in the West and in Southeast Asia. And I also have traveled a lot more than that too. I've been to Mexico. I've been all over my home state of Wisconsin. I've been Michigan, Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, all the local places. I've done a lot of traveling for work and usually try to make a little bit of a mini adventure before, during, and after a work trip. And I've made a lot of progress on my weight training and become very much stronger than I've ever been in my life. I feel like I even look better than I used to. Certainly I look a lot better than when I was married. Probably don't look as good as when I was in my 20s before I got married, but just for 50 something, I feel good about myself, and I feel good about all the progress I've made at work, and I feel good about making these videos for you and all my articles on ahappierman.com, and my book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man with a 3-Step System, available on the ahappierman.com website. I feel good about writing that. And I feel good about overcoming all the baggage and the challenges from my earlier life. And the baggage and the challenges were considerable. And I know a lot of people have a lot of baggage and a lot of challenges and a lot of frustrations to overcome. And you can do it if you put it in your mind that you're going to have the opposite of those challenges and the opposite of those baggage and the opposite of the frustrations. So it's critical that you get your mind right and focus on what you want. So for me, it was a great job at a great organization. It was not being with a verbally abusive wife. It was taking care of my, finish raising my children and being there for them and staying involved in the other parts of the family's life, and keeping in touch with old friends, doing extensive traveling, keeping my strength up with weight training, and just kind of doing what I need to do to feel good about myself, enjoy my life, and just having a great time. So now, at the end of my 50s, I've got one more epic trip to Southeast Asia. I'm going up north for a good friend's daughter's wedding. That will be a very nice day and evening up there. I'll see my mom tomorrow on the way home. I've got to see my son once before my trip, talk to my daughter on the phone. I got quite a bit of work to do in the next week and a half before I go on my trip, to make sure everything is up to date and up to snuff so I can leave comfortably. And then at some point, I'll turn 60 and I'll have to see what's next. So give that idea some thought. All for now.